I'm sorry. Whenever you come to the front of the room or you walk into a meeting and say, I'm the money guy, people get this either two reactions. One is the switch just goes, boom, I'm checking out, done. And the other is you get this vision of like a monster from the 1950s, you know, spreadsheets, taxes, and then the brain goes, boo, and you shut off. So thank you to Mike for putting me here at the front end of the agenda while you still have coffee in your systems. The challenge that we have as business owners and business leaders is not what if something goes wrong. Our biggest challenge is what if it all works out? What if everything that you are wanting to have happen actually happens? What if that vision in your brain actually comes to pass? So thinking about what to call this, I thought go with something that doesn't sound like money but works in a body scenario. How to get fit, lose weight, and not die. Sounds okay, right? From a business standpoint, how to grow smart, make money, and not die. You notice the theme is don't die. Because what happens to more businesses than not is they grow, they sell, they excel, and then they die. Why? Because they grew and they sold. 2005, we were living in the Twin Cities. We moved out to California to begin my third adventure in self-employment. For 14 years, I was in the financial services world, mostly as a financial planner, some as a business consultant to financial advisors and financial planners. We moved out to California to go into practice with an existing business, been there for 20 years, and at one point had been one of the top franchises in the entire company, in the entire industry. But in the previous 3 years had been in a steady state of decline, and sales were dropping to a very low level. I thought I could help. The guy that was running it thought I could help. Here we go. Partnership starts. First year that we're together, sales grow 50% year over year. Phenomenal, right? The next year we grow another 30%. Great, right? We get into our third year, and from the first year to the third year, sales had tripled from where we started from. We get to the end of the third year, we're looking at this beautiful number on top of the board. We're looking at a beautiful number that's going to show up on our tax return. And we look in our checking account and go, where's the money? What happened? It defies all logic. But here's how money works. You can have a very profitable business with horrible cash flow. You can have phenomenal cash flow and be in the red. The key to selling a lot of stuff, growing your company, and not dying is to understand the dynamics of those and make sure that they work together and you don't get killed. How is it that you can show amazing seven-figure bottom line numbers and go into bankruptcy? How is it that GM can completely run out of money while cars are flying off the lot? How is such a thing possible? How can our U.S. government take in so many trillions of dollars and send out even more? This is the dynamics of money. It's not just the money that you've got in your pocket. It's how fast it's coming in and going out. And you're the only one who gets to control the speed of that. The good news is you can control the speed of that. I'm a dad, 3 amazing kids. I'm out the other day with my little girl. She's 8. She's riding her bike, and we start to go uphill. And she starts pedaling, and she says, "Daddy, my legs hurt." Any fathers in the room? All right, so I don't know about you, but I have over on one shoulder, I have awesome, amazing dad, and on the other, I have loser dad. I have 2 pictures that go through my mind immediately. Loser dad says, your legs are going uphill. Your legs are hurting because you're going uphill. I'm like, well, I could do that, but there's no Dad of the Year award in that. And then the other side goes to, well, sweetie, what's actually happening is your legs are working harder now and your muscles are burning sugar instead of oxygen. That's building up lactic acid. And that's causing pain. But as you ride the bike, your heart rate will increase and your breathing will increase. Okay, so now I'm getting the Biology Dad of the Year award, right? Your business works the same way. When you go to sell more, when you go to expand, when you go to increase, that increase is going to start burning whatever is there, and it will produce pain. Growth sucks. Growth sucks your money. Growth sucks your time. Growth sucks your energy. Growth will suck your relationship. There's a giant vacuum. The answer to everything is not sell more, because sell more will kill you unless you are prepared to pump more oxygen into that system. So in the next 10 minutes, we're going to talk about blood, because blood is how you do stuff. Blood is what takes oxygen through your body. Oxygen is what your body needs in order to survive. It's not the money that is moving through your business. It's the stuff the money carries with it. It's your fingerprints on the money. It's your decision making. It's the way that you do things and the way the money responds to you that makes things work. Say this with me. Say 1 hour.
1 hour.
1 morning.
1 morning.
1 day.
1 day.
That will save your life. 1 hour a week, 1 morning a quarter, and 1 day a year. To actually sit down and look at what is about to happen to your money will save your life. If we can go to the next slide, Sue. There we go. 2 checks on blood. When you go to the doctor, they check your pulse. They put the cuff on the arm. They check your blood pressure. Pulse is a short-term indicator. It's what's happening to my body right now. That's your cash flow. Your blood pressure is a long-term indicator. It's what's trending. What is the way that my health is going? Better or worse over time. That is your profitability from a cash flow standpoint. Next slide, Sue. Great quote from Muhammad Ali. I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. Money is painful. And the fact is, most of us do not like looking at spreadsheets. We don't like looking at income statements. We don't like doing the money stuff. But 1 hour, 1 morning, 1 day, and you will prevent all kinds of trouble. Bear with me as we go through these numbers. It just might save your life. Next slide. We'll do a pulse check. Cash flow. How fast is cash moving in? How fast is cash moving out? Some of you are in a cash sales type of business, meaning that I sell something, someone hands me cash, I hand the stuff over to them. Some of you are in credit sales. You do service for a client. You sell a product, 30 days later, the check arrives. Hopefully, maybe 60 or 90 or 180 days. Some of you are smiling. You know what that's like. Next slide, Sue. Thank you. Let's take a quick look at a business just to show an example. Because the money moving in, the money moving out, we know that that's going to happen, but what is the differential? How does it affect our business during that time? Simple thing, on Monday, we had sales of $2,000. That sales cost us $1,000. So I bought $1,000 worth of stuff. I sold it for $2,000. This is good, right? Right, we're assuming everything happens on the same day in this case. So my receipts happen on Monday. I pay for the stuff that I bought on Monday. I've got some other expenses. I started the day with cash. I finished the day with cash. All right? Next slide. Unblock the window. Tuesday, the same thing happens. More sales, but I've got to pay for that stuff. I started the day with cash. I finished the day with cash. Next slide. On this, I finished the week with more cash than I started the week with. I had $60,000 of sales. I had $30,000 of costs. I had some bills. I paid some payroll. I started with cash. I finished with cash. This is our baseline scenario. What happens if you get into a vacuum? What if you have to wait on the money coming in? What is the impact on your cash flow? Next slide, please. We're going to wait 1 day. So the sales that I have on Monday actually arrive on Tuesday. But I've got to pay for the stuff on Monday. So I'm going to sell something for $2,000, but I've got to pay $1,000 for it. The $2,000 that I sold, that actually arrives tomorrow, but I pay for it today. All right, go ahead, Salute. So the money, the sales were the exact same in the previous scenario. The costs were the same in the scenario. The expenses, the payroll, everything is exactly the same. The difference is I waited 1 day on the money. You will notice there's red. And there's red at the end. Because I had to wait, there was a vacuum. Run it in the reverse scenario. Next slide, please. What if it works the other way around? They actually get the money first before I have to send the money out. So accounts receivable are 0 and accounts payable are 1 day. Run it forward, Sue. We get to the end of the week and all of a sudden there's a lot more cash. Almost 3 times as much as what I started with at the beginning of the week. Let's do the summary. Next slide. From a cash flow standpoint, when things were moving in and out, by the end of the week I had $15,000. But when I had to wait 1 day on the money, I was $25,000 less than if everything was coming at the same speed. If I could wait paying the bills for a day, then I ended up with $12,500 more. Do you get the point? Waiting hurts. It hurts when the money has to leave before it comes in, which is why when my little girl is riding the bike up the hill, her muscles are screaming for oxygen, and the oxygen isn't there yet. It's going to hurt until the oxygen gets there. What do I do with that? Next slide, Sue. Rule of thumb. If you have to wait 14 days on your money, you need 14 days worth of money. Here's the conversation. Here's a customer that wants to buy $10,000 worth of stuff from us. They want 30-day terms. You are handing them a $10,000 check that they are going to hold on to for 30 days. If you don't have that $10,000 check to hand to them, don't give them the 30 days. If you ask a company to give you 60-day terms and you buy $50,000 of stuff from them, they are handing you a $50,000 check. There is actual money that is moving even though you don't see it. Does this make sense? The blood needs to keep flowing. What happens when you get an air bubble in the system? That's not so bad. That's how you die. We're talking about how not to die. Air bubbles are not good. When you have a gap in your receivables, that gap continues to move forward for the life of your business until something closes that gap. And this is the weird part. Everybody likes to look at their P&L statement, look at their profit and say, hey, I made money. But where is it? That's where it is. It's floating around in space. It's coming in. But if you will take the time and look at where is this money going to come in and what needs to come out before? Take 1 hour a week. Take one morning a quarter. Take 1 day a year and project out. Write it down. Do it on spreadsheet. Look out 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks down the road and say, I had a sale today. When does that money actually show up? Does money need to leave before I can actually get a hold of it? What do I need to do if I need to speed it up? Discounts. Discounts are a beautiful thing. We love them. 2% 10, net 30. I'll give you a 2% discount if you'll pay me within 10 days. Otherwise, you can pay me full price in 30 days. Some companies that work, some companies that don't, it's worth a shot. Credit card payments. I don't like credit card payments, Caleb. It costs me 3.5%. Okay, so $40,000 worth of sales, I can pay $1,200 in fees, or I can wait 30 days for that money. If I wait 30 days for $40,000, how much does it cost me? $40,000 that I don't have while I'm waiting. Can I pay $1,200 to get $40,000 now? Yes. Having the money sooner versus later is a benefit. Shorter terms. Go to your customers and say, I don't want to be paid in 60 days. I'd like to be paid in 30 days. Just had this conversation a week ago with the company we're getting a master service agreement with out in the oil field. They said, we pay everybody in 60 days. We said, not us. It was a very interesting conversation. You can slow down the money going out so the money goes out before the money comes in. It's okay to have money coming in 45 days from now as long as the money doesn't go out for 60 days. You can ask, say, okay, what if I extend the payment with your vendors, ask them for some more time, negotiate the terms, or use somebody else's money. There are banks that will actually give you money to use for a short period of time, provided you can show them how you can pay them back. Here's an interesting note to self. If you're taking that 1 hour, that one morning, and that 1 day per year, and you're charting this stuff out on paper, you can take that paper to your banker and say, this is the way in which I will pay you back. I need to use your money for 2 weeks, and then I will give it back to you. And bankers absolutely love that. Yes? Banker in the back. Awesome. Next slide. It's different for everybody. Check your heart rate. Take that 1 hour and chart out. These are the sales that I had. This is when the money shows up. These are the expenses I have. These are when the monies go out. If these sales go this way, where is this money going? Find your heart rate. Find your rhythm. Next slide. We're moving fast. That's great. Blood pressure to profit margin. What does it cost you to sell the stuff that you are selling? How much of that money do you need to have left over? You can sell yourself into oblivion. Please don't. Next slide. Simple math, $1,000 sale price. It cost me $600 to buy the stuff that I'm selling. I've got a 40% gross margin. Now I've got to pay operational expenses, $250 out of my gross profits, 15% net margin. Are we okay, the difference between gross and net? And where they show up on the paper? All right. So I pay for the stuff I'm selling, and then I run my business, and then I've got money left over. Right? Next slide. What do I actually do with that? Know what it takes to run the business. If I've got operational expenses of $20,000 and a 40% margin, I need $50,000 to cover the bill. $20,000 of expenses, I'm going to go sell $20,000 worth of stuff and I'll be okay, right? No, you will die. Don't die. Stay alive. Find out what your margins are and make sure the sales are going to cover the bills. I have a new loan payment of $5,000 per month. My net margins are 15%. It takes $30,000 of sales to cover that loan payment. So no, I can sell $12,000 and have $5,000 left over. No, the $5,000 runs your business. If you are going to save money, contribute to a retirement plan, or pay off a loan, that comes from the bottom. You run the business and then you do that stuff. If you want to take on a new loan that costs you $5,000 a month, divide it by your net margin. Those are the sales you need to generate. How do I use this in the real world? Next slide. Use your margins when you plan. I need to add a new employee. This employee is going to cost me this much. It's an operational expense. Divide it by your gross margin. I want to take on a new fleet of vehicles. How much gas are you going to spend? How much is the lease payment? Divide it by your margin and find out how much sales you need to generate in order to cover that. Can we afford to build a new office? Take your margins and divide the number. Start with the end in mind. What is the number that you need in order to do what you're wanting to do? Divide it by your margin. That will tell you what you need your sales to be. Most people say, I'm going to go out and create sales and then I'll figure out the rest. You will die. Please don't die. Next slide. Quick example. I want to hire a new employee, $60,000 per year. Gross margins are 40% and I wait 30 days on my money. With gross margins of 40%, I need $150,000 of sales to pay that employee. I've got to sell $12,000 a month to pay for that employee. Does that make sense? Cool. I need reserves of $12,000 to cover this employee. Why? Because I wait 30 days. However long you have to wait on the money, you need that money to wait on that money. So if I'm going to have $12,000 of sales, but I've got to wait 30 days to pay my employee, where's that $12,000 going to come now? Because I've got to pay them before the check from the customer arrives. Make sense? Let's say that I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a new bill. Question. How does our employee support those new sales? If I'm going to hire this person, where's the money going to come from to pay for them? What are they doing that's going to build the business, add to the business, or free up my time so that I can go and sell more? And how do I need to adjust my savings or my credit? Next slide, please, Sue. I want to go out and borrow $3 million. We're going to build this brand new facility. It's going to be awesome and amazing. It's only going to cost, bargain price, $35,000 a month. Net margins of 15%, average receivables. I wait 6 weeks in order for my customers to pay me. I need new sales every month of $250,000 to make that loan payment. Is that a bad thing? No, not if the $3 million of facility is going to help me create $3 million worth of sales. But here's the thing. If I'm waiting 6 weeks on my money, I need almost $350,000 of credit line or reserves in order to support this payment. What does that mean? It means when you talk about building a building, don't just talk about getting the money from the bank to build the building. Talk about the reserves as well. How are you going to manage the new expenses that are coming in? Begin with the end in mind. Start with the end, back into the margins of the other costs that are connected to that. And that way you get a big enough top line number in order to increase the bottom line number. You may come at the end of the day and say, it's not worth it. I don't want to grow that big. That's okay. Then you won't die. Next slide. Again, it's the pain of the training that we don't like. But a little bit of pain now, save a lot of trouble later. Take an hour this week. Take an hour tomorrow morning, this afternoon, and look at the next 6 weeks. Based on your sales, when is that money coming in and what is the money going out? Find out what your target heart rate is for your cash flow. Set aside one morning or one afternoon every 3 months to plot out the next 3 months, the next 6 months, and look at the money moving in and out. Take one day a year to just stop and think, if everything that I have planned for actually works, how bad is that going to hurt? Save yourself from pain. Should be the last slide coming up next, Sue. Ike. Dwight Eisenhower. In battle, plans are useless, but planning is indispensable. Planning is the way in which you take your brain and put it in a time machine and you run into the forward and take a look at what things are going to look like. If this plan that you have works out and everything goes well, what does that mean? Take some time. 1 hour a week, 1 hour every quarter, one morning every quarter, and 1 day each year that you're going to jump in the time machine, look ahead, and say, okay, what am I going to need to do if all of these things happen? Make sense? Riding uphill does not have to hurt. You can train for it. You can prepare for it. But if your usual job involves sitting in a car or sitting at a computer and you try to go out and jog for 30 minutes, you may die. Please don't die. Everybody knows about celery, right? Celery is a 0-calorie food. It takes more energy to consume than it actually adds to your body. You can die eating celery. Sales are important to your business, but your ability to serve your customers and accomplish the goals of your business will be shortcut without figuring out what's going on. Check the pulse, check your cash flow, check your blood pressure, check your profit margins, and then you won't die. Sound good?
Good.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right. You got 2 or 3 minutes.